It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hello there guys, back again to do another tattoo progress update. Where I last left off, I had just done all the red shading, more or less all over my entire body to some degree. We did it all in one big session. We did both the left and right side of my ribs, chest, my stomach, and yeah, a little bit of everywhere. So I'll go ahead and show that off if I can. So it's all healed now, and it's all very bright still, obviously. No surprise there. You can see it's still a little dry in places. To some degree, it's a little bit lighter than it was even when it was fresh. This red nebula red, it stays really, really red. It's kind of got like a pinky vibe to it when it's on regular skin, I think. But on the black, it really darkens it up a little bit, kind of beefs it up a bit, and just kind of gives it more of its own, you know, red tinge to it. I really like it. It's in all the eyes as well. It's what we use for the spider eyes and the other eyes. And the other eyes are several years old now. You can look back and you can see those throughout my YouTube videos. They've aged incredibly well. They haven't changed at all, and neither has any of the white highlight in the insides of them. The other reds seem to age really well too, but I don't find that they stay as bright. Whatever's in that nebula red stays real bright. With that said, this side of my shoulder here probably needs to be passed again. It's bugging me. It's been bugging me the last few videos I've made. I don't spend a ton of time staring at myself in the mirror as much as some people will believe I do. Some, we'll call them trolls, will believe that I do. I actually don't have a ton of time usually. So the most time that I spend looking at my tattoos is actually when I'm making these videos, because I'm staring into a front-facing camera. And I can see quite a bit of black sitting through this still. It's mostly solid, but there's streaks. And I think it's because when I did the second pass, it was only like 3 or 4 weeks later. So I think now where it's been a few months, in a few weeks, I'm probably gonna hit that again. It only takes like 45 minutes at the most anyway. And I'll probably do the final pass of red on my head as well, because similarly, that has now, that's been a few months since I've touched it. And I think we can make it a little bit better yet. So that's coming up soon. I also want to do another pass on my red hand soon. This is very settled now. The skin isn't shiny, and we get to see what's left of it, and obviously it can be better. I'm not that surprised that it's not perfect. It took a really long time for the shiny skin to go away. I did hit it 3 times already, red on black, but the first 2 times were in fairly quick succession, and the third time was only, I think, like 6 weeks later. So when we get to it this time, it will be, I think we did it last in June. Yeah, middle of June. So I'm thinking we're going to do it again in late November / December. This video will be going up most likely in November at some point, but I'm actually doing this in October, early October. My vlogs are generally always fairly far ahead. I say this all the time and people still don't seem to understand this, but because my life is so busy, I prefer to keep all of my social media fairly ahead. I don't like getting behind on shit, and I could easily get caught up and not have time to make one of these. You know, when you're a husband and a father, and you know, you work over full-time hours and you have 6 or 7 social media accounts that you're running, it's very easy to you know, miss an upload or something. So sometimes there's weeks in between Remy Reacts videos, and no one will ever know this because we're so far ahead on them that I always have content there, and the algorithms on these social media sites punish you severely if you don't keep your posting frequency. So it's not just a matter of me being lazy or not wanting to make content enough. It's a matter of making sure that my accounts stay afloat. My Instagram, for example, ever since it's come back, has been just in the fucking shitter. It's just done. Like, I don't think I can ever get that thing back again. It's underperforming every day. I could put anything up there and it wouldn't do well anymore. So I've taken to almost not caring anymore, and I don't want to punish my audience on Instagram for it, because I believe it's the algorithm doing it to me. But my account it's done. I've heard similar things from other large creators. I do have an alternative account that does a little bit better, but I don't think I care enough to start over and try again. I don't think that platform is... I hope that platform isn't around for much longer anyway. I have a lot more fun with my YouTube. So I'm not really sweating it. With that said, nothing I post anymore really goes well. There was a time when everything I posted showed up in my followers' feeds, but now it's not like I'm complaining because I'm not hitting the explore page or something. Not even my followers ever see my content anymore unless they go to my page. So I don't know what the hell you do about that. This is a problem that I think is bigger than what people realize. I had a friend, I've told this story on the podcast, but since no one watched that, I'll tell it now. I had a friend from work that I worked with on my Facebook several years ago, and I was wondering if he was dead or something, because I hadn't seen anything from him in ages. And it's not like I didn't want to either. I didn't ever not want to see his stuff. Let me just preface that. So anyway, I searched his page. Turns out he was posting 6 or 7 times a day, has 2,000 friends on his Facebook. He's getting 0 likes. He's getting 0 comments. So in this guy's mind, he could take this as, everybody hates me. Nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. They wish I didn't exist, essentially. This guy could now post a suicide note on his Facebook and no one would see it, and he'd be dead before anyone could do anything about it. That is the danger. I'm ramping it up to the umpteenth degree, but that is the actual danger of what Facebook and Instagram platforms have done by muting, deciding that people aren't interested in people's content. It's not like they asked them. They just decided that because you might have scrolled on one of his posts in the past, you'll never want to see anything he has to say again. It does go that quick. Most people don't understand what a like or a save or a share actually means. It's not that you're telling that content creator you like their post. It's telling that algorithm that you want to see this human being again. We need to be more educated on what our like means. Because, 2,000 friends on Facebook, not one person likes anything this guy has to say. What are the fucking odds of that? So I've always said that they assassinated that guy, essentially. He's socially dead. I don't think that he can ever come back from that at that point. I think that we may as well pronounce him dead. Because we live so much online. Like I've said before, more people will know me as Remy than will ever know me as Jeremy. I've influenced and impacted way more people online than I will ever in person. So for all intents and purposes, Remy is more real than Jeremy is. And so in saying that, this fella that I worked with may as well not exist to a lot of people anymore, particularly people that aren't going to see him in person very often. It's sad. It's a pathetic, sad reality that we live in every day. But I digress. I could get carried away talking about that all day. And I have other matters to get to. And most people have probably already stopped watching based on my audience retention metrics. You guys have about a 3 to 5 minute attention span typically. Which is better than most social media, by the way. Most social media platforms, you have a 3 to 5 second audience retention, and that's pushing it. There are some videos that, and not just me, by the way. This is statistics. This is overall statistics. We have everyone at the shop here does content creation, and I've seen their analytics, and the half-life of a reel is something like 2 seconds. So if you don't grab them in that first 2 seconds, they're fucking onwards and upwards. So anyway, Rick and I had another session. We got in here, did all of the color up to about here, and there's a little bit of color there. He started out doing his reline it all and reshaded it all with black thing, and it took a long time, and it took even longer to pack the color in. I like the color palette again. It's a cool color palette. We went with the purples and several different purples and several different blues. It doesn't look like it. Probably looks to you guys like there's 3 colors in there. There's something like 15 colors in there. I'm not kidding. It's that many. And then obviously we were going to continue that, but my skin was getting pretty tight. This was over 3 hours of work. It may not seem like it. I think Rick spent probably an hour just coloring in this part. He would run color over that inner bicep, and it was like he did nothing almost. My skin was really resistant to it. It did not want to take it, so it took him quite a bit of time to pack it in there, and as a result, we slowed down a lot when he got to the color in there, and by the time he got up here, the skin was legitimately tightening up on him. So I don't care, it doesn't bother me, but it is what it is. It's like I said, this is session 22. We'll probably be 60 sessions, 80 sessions. I've been saying this all along. A lot of people have probably been thinking that I've been bloating that number, or that that's not the real number. I'm exaggerating. And as I said early on, most people will lose patience or interest in this project several times along the way. I myself will. Like yesterday, I wasn't really feeling like doing this for an hour. I wasn't really feeling like doing this for 3.5, you know? I told my wife, Sarah, that I could have taken yesterday off and not missed much. Like, when you're in the middle of a big project like this, and most people may never know this, but when you're in the middle of a big project like this, it does tend to feel a little bit like work. There are days you just don't want to go. And it wasn't because I didn't want the pain of it or any of that. It's just like the whole thing, like the setup, the tear down, the picture, the fucking, like the obviously sitting for the pain sometimes, you know, just the whole thing. Like, by the time you get done, you're in here for 5 hours, and I do this on my one day off the week, and I just kind of would have, I think I would have preferred to just be at home. That doesn't mean that I'm checking out on the project, though. I'm more excited for next week already than I was this one. The stuff we did last week healed great too, so it's not like I don't have incentive to keep going. Like, all that color did really, really well, and I think that this color is going to be much the same. I think it's going to be a bit darker, and it'll probably need a second pass more, but I expect that because of the sheer amount of contrast and density of the packing, I'm expecting a really good result, and hopefully when we go through there, it will be mostly light touch-ups. If this yellow color that we use, which is actually 3 different shades of yellow, believe it or not, if that works, we're going to bring it into the bone textures, like the teeth and the claws. So we used an orange and an opaque, I think it was called bone white in these, and as you can see, they're a little more subtle. If this heals out to be more closer to that tone, we're going to use that instead of the color that we did there. But you can see the progression in the color, the knowledge of color on black throughout this sleeve again, where this was pretty good and I was happy with this, but I'll be happier now when it looks more like the stuff we did last week, where there's just more blues and purples. So it's like Rick said this week, every time he sits down, he's still learning. Every single time we get to work on something, he's still learning. And that should be the way it always is as a tattooer, by the way. If you're a tattooer and every day is the same and you're never learning anything, you may as well quit. Like, sure, you're making a boatload of money, and I'm sure you can sleep at night giving your customers the same tattoo every day, but like, you should be challenging yourself to grow every day. And anything you do. Anything that I do, I feel like I'm learning every day and trying to get a little better. Literally everything. Like, even when I was cooking for 20 years, there were still second savers. There were still things that, you know, for a lot of people, they wouldn't even know you were doing them. Like, a lot of what I would do I would make it feel incredibly effortless and seem incredibly effortless to people watching, but there were so many different things going on in each motion. I feel like that's the same in any skill-based occupation, and that's all tattooing is at the end of the day. There's an art to it, but it's, as I believe, more of a skill than an art form. There's always room to grow. Anyway, I've got a lot more to talk about this week, but I'm going to wait for my next session to get into my next points. I have another session with Terry, and we're going to be reworking the eye. I have a mock-up for that, and I'm not going to show it off today. I'll show that off, and I'll show off the inspiration for the next version of the eye when I'm getting it done, or when I'm talking about how I had it done. Again, I like to under-promise, over-deliver, and I like keeping people a little bit in suspense about the direction. So often my projects develop in ways that surprise people. I very rarely have people going, yep, that's exactly what I expected would happen. The only thing that you can always bank on is that there will be more. You can't bank on what it will be, though. I'll keep you on your toes. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.